Welcome to the Purposely Aligned Entrepreneur Podcast presented by Boss Girl Creative. This is episode number 493. Today, I'm talking about the lies that hold us back. Now let's dive in. Hey, I'm Taylor Bradford, host of the Purposely Aligned Entrepreneur Podcast presented by Boss Girl Creative. I help small business owners turn their purpose into a paycheck, and it starts with visibility. In the online world, visibility equates to sales. So if you're dreaming of being the next $1 million entrepreneur, you've come to the right place because weekly I share visibility tips, brand advice, and business resources. So grab a notebook, your favorite pen, and a beverage, and let's do the work. Well, hello and welcome to episode 493 of the podcast. I am your host, Taylor Bradford. Thank you so much for being here and pressing play. We're talking about the lies that hold us back. It's going to be a good one. Before we dive in, let's find out what's been going on in the land of social media. Social media headline number 1, Facebook switches to views as its primary metric. Facebook's following Instagram's lead in making views its focus. Social media headline number 2, Facebook is going to remove the option to allow public followers on personal profiles. If you want to keep your public followers, switch to professional mode instead. Social media headline number 3, TikTok expands its affiliate marketing program. It's a new way to add direct product links in stream. Social media headline number 4, Instagram is removing the option to follow hashtags. Does this mean that hashtags are no longer important? We will soon find out. Social media headline number 5, Instagram makes it easier to remove inactive profiles from your audience. They are now displaying how many inactive profiles are among your followers so that you can remove them from your audience if you prefer. So now you can easily remove them by simply going to the listing and tapping remove on each account. And that wraps up this week's social media headlines. Okay, so let's talk about 2 things real quick before we get into the lies that hold us back. First reminder is that you now have the ability to leave me a voicemail, leave me audio feedback. Go to bossgirlcreative.com/speak, and it will allow you to record an audio message to me, whether that is an aha moment or episode feedback or something you'd like to hear on a future episode of the show. So go to bossgirlcreative.com/speak. And then also, I would love for you to possibly move away from listening through Apple. And there's so many other platforms that you can listen to podcasts through, Spotify being one of them. But you can use bossgirlcreative.com/listen, and it's going to give you a laundry list of different apps that you can listen through. And all you have to remember is bossgirlcreative.com/listen, and it will directly take you to my show through the app that you prefer. So it can make things a lot easier for you. And plus, I would really love it if you don't listen through Apple just because of what Apple has done to podcasts. Okay, so those are the 2 friendly reminders I have for you. Let's talk about the lies that hold us back, because you're believing those lies, because I did too at one point, and I have in the past. So today I'm sharing 5 lies that are holding you back from living your best life, both in your business and in your personal life. These lies are keeping you from reaching your potential. Okay, let's walk through them. And I'm going to share my own stories of my mistakes in hopes that you can learn from me. So would you agree that there are so many things that are begging for our attention, especially as entrepreneurs? I just saw a comment on my YouTube channel, The House of Sugar Creek, and it was actually left 4 weeks ago. That is kind of where my brain is with regards to my YouTube channel, but I have fixed that. But I just saw this comment that was left on my YouTube channel 4 weeks ago, and it goes something like this. I love your videos and your channel, but you go weeks and sometimes months in between posting. talk about like knife through the heart, knife through the gut. Just get me, why don't you? And yeah, that made me feel really good at being a failure on my YouTube channel. So thank you very much. No, like it was taken in good jest. Like I'm not offended by that, but I was like, I know that my YouTube channel, that is a ball that I have dropped tremendously time after time, like since I started the YouTube channel, and I was doing so incredibly good for quite some time. And then it was just the thing that I didn't have full bandwidth for. I have since hired a video editor and actually had a meeting with her last night. And so the YouTube channel will be back into production. I have been filming videos for months, but I just didn't have the bandwidth to handle the editing that goes into video content. So that is being fixed. I will be back on YouTube. Like I really want to grow that channel. And so, yeah, it's been in the works. I just really suck at YouTube right now. So yeah, like I know how these things can make us feel because that comment like really got me. And I was like, yes, please don't point out my faults. I know I haven't been consistent over there, but I'm consistent in a lot of other areas. You just may not see the full ecosystem of what it is that I'm doing. And I think that that's an important reality that we all have to have is this is all an ecosystem for our business. Where we show up online is just part of our ecosystem. And are we fully nurturing the ecosystem? Are we getting the support where we need support, which is ultimately what's going to be lie number one. And I'll get to that in just a moment. But along with the things begging for our attention, there are so many fears and lies that we start to believe. Our potential, our worth, our shortcomings, our ability to succeed. We start believing in lies related to these things. We start having fears related to these things. And these things have the soul-crushing weight to drown out our intuition, allowing for darkness to settle in, forcing us to have fear and to believe the lies, which makes us question, are we doing the right thing? Are we making the right decisions? Are we going in the right direction? Which all combined hold us back in our professional lives and our personal lives. Like all that combined holds us back. So let's douse ourselves in truth-telling serum right now. And let's get into these lies together. And I want you to get really honest about where you are for these. I want you to ask yourself, do you feel great about this lie? Do you feel stuck with this lie? Do you feel unsure about this lie? Do you feel behind? Like, what are you feeling when I talk about these lies individually? And trust me when I say you're not alone. When we get finished, we're going to chant together, I'm not alone in this. I'm not alone in this. I'm not alone in this. Like, I promise you are not alone in this. So lie number 1, outsourcing is not for you. Let me tell you about my journey into outsourcing. Now, I've not ever had a problem per se in outsourcing, but I have had a problem in deciding what that scope looks like. Like my very first assistant that I hired was helping me with some social media scheduling. And also when I was running link parties, I had an assistant doing the link parties. Like I just didn't have the time to do that. It was a very robust service that I was offering and I just couldn't do it. So I had an assistant doing it. And then when that assistant moved on, I hired more assistants to do that service. And we did that service for years and years until blogging just kind of changed directions for people. And so the link party services weren't helping people anymore. And when something stops working for people, there's no reason to keep like beating a dead horse. So we just decided to close up shop on that particular service that I was offering, which meant I really no longer had an ability to provide work for the assistants that were helping me with that. But hiring an in-person assistant, for whatever reason, I just didn't think I could make that work financially. Like that was the biggest thing holding me back in hiring my first in-person assistant. But let me tell you, once I was able to rip the Band-Aid off and get over the fear of how I was going to make it work, when I say that I 3x'd my revenue by hiring someone to take a lot of the things I was doing by myself off my plate, I'm not kidding when I say I 3x'd my revenue. And so now it has been a very important aspect of my business to have a personal assistant that can help me with the things. And for the most part, this assistant helps me with Sugar Creek, but in the day-to-day, there are things that she is also doing. I am now on my third assistant. I've talked about my assistants in the past through this podcast and talked about the soul-crushing moment when I realized my very first assistant decided I was kind of like a job, like Walmart or Target, and she was no longer filling the role that I needed her to fulfill. And we needed to part ways. And then I brought on a second assistant and I could already see the missteps happening. And that assistant lasted 7 months before she gave me notice and moved on to her next job. And now I'm in my third assistant. And this one is even younger than the first two. The first one was late 20s. The second one was middle 20s. The third one is early 20s. There is a major difference between age groups within the 20s, which is so crazy. And I've had issues already with the third assistant, but the third assistant is bringing something to the table that the first two didn't. And I feel like the third assistant is more moldable and can learn more and is a little bit hungrier than the first two. So it's very interesting, but I can see why my investment in an assistant is worth it because of how I was able to generate more money. Sugar Creek in 2024 has surpassed what I made in 2023 and did so a couple months ago. And 2023 was a stellar year financially for Sugar Creek. I didn't think I could top it. I had a big audacious goal for 2024. I am falling short of that big audacious goal, but I've still, financially speaking, I've still beat 2023. And so, setting that audacious goal for myself, put me here so that 2024 is really a success. Even though I didn't meet my big audacious goal, my revenue still surpassed my 2024 and 2023, and my 2023 was a stellar year, and 2022 was not too shabby either. So I am just so grateful that I took that risk, that I got over that fear, that I stopped believing the lie that outsourcing wasn't going to work for me. So I know that the hang up is centered around not having a budget to outsource. And I know that the other hang up is that you doing all the things is taking up so much of your mental space that these two things combined are holding you back. And they are keeping you chained to where you are right now. And you are not going to have the growth you want without getting rid of the fear of outsourcing not being for you. We don't have to do everything by ourselves. I need you to release these thoughts. I need you to hire people who have the zone of genius for the things that are taking up too much space for you. And I promise you, when you move forward with outsourcing to something, whether that is having a house cleaner or hiring an accountant or a bookkeeper, it's going to free you up to make decisions that are going to move your business forward. So I can also say with outsourcing that I'm going to have to get to a point where I can outsource again. I've got some more fears that I need to work through in hiring some more people, especially for my roofing and construction business. Because let me tell you, when I get sick, everything stops because everything works with me. Everything works through me. I am the paycheck cutter. I am the hour distributor. I am the job person. I am the insurance director. I schedule the jobs. I write the estimates. I deal with the insurance companies. I write the paychecks. Like, when I am sick, all of those things stop. And I am stuck personally right now in this moment. I am stuck in a place of fear about hiring somebody to help me with the roofing business, because I don't think we can afford it, even though I know that it's going to free me up to go out and get more work. Like, I know that. So I don't know why I'm still hung up on this fear, but it is something that I'm actively working towards and is a goal for 2025 to hire some support specifically for the roofing business. And then also tied up into outsourcing is my inability to ask for help. I suck at asking for help because in my mind, I can just do it so much faster and then I don't have to take the time to teach you. I can just do it. So I can pick up those 3 chairs and I can move them by myself. If I could lift a sofa by myself, I would lift a sofa by myself. If I knew I didn't have stairs to encounter, I would move the sofa by myself. I can put stuff into my trailers by myself because I can use leverage of wheelie things that help me roll things into place or help me get things up into place. But that is a waste of time. Do you know how long it takes me to move a sofa by myself into a trailer that has no ramp? 30 minutes tops, 45 minutes tops. When I could just ask for help and it would take 2 seconds to load that sofa into a trailer that doesn't have a ramp. So those are the things I'm working on. The things that are holding me back and moving businesses forward is not being able to ask for help because it's just easier if I do it, supposedly. And then like the fear of hiring somebody else to help me. And when I know I'm doing a banger job of doing that task, and I think like if you frame your mindset, at least I'm telling myself this, if you frame your mindset of you can still have your hands in the pot, just let somebody else stir the pot. You know what I'm saying? Like, here's a good example. If you're a photographer, you could still be the editor of your photos, but maybe not the editor of all of your photos. Maybe you pick the first 10 that you want to send to your client that you like these are your like top 10 photos of the night. And then you have an editor that's doing the rest that can edit in your style. And so you're not giving up full editing. You're still providing a level of service that you feel attached to, but the rest of it is going to somebody else who has the zone of genius of being a really rock star editor. So I want you to stop white knuckling your business. When we believe that no one else on this earth can do the things as well as we can, we just hold ourselves back. And that's what I'm doing right now with our roofing and construction business. So what if you could hire an assistant? Whether that's an in-person assistant or a virtual assistant. What if you could hire an editor? What if you could hire an accountant, tech support, somebody to run your Facebook ads, a graphic designer, weekly meal service, house cleaning, web design? There are so many things that you could outsource in your business that would take the white knuckling away from you. These people specifically have businesses in all of these areas, and they love doing those things, and they can help you. They can help support you. So let them. We have a house cleaner. We have yard care. We have meal service. I have an in-person assistant. I have an in-person bookkeeper. I have a podcast editor. I have a YouTube editor now. I just hired her. I have an interior designer that is helping me with my home. I have a delivery crew that helps me with Sugar Creek. I have an accountant. These beautiful humans help me free up time to focus on money growth and business growth. Let me just tell you this. Again, loud and clear, hear me. You are not meant to do this alone. So stop focusing on the expense of outsourcing and figure out how to make more money. Because at the end of the day, it is really that simple. Just go out and make more money. Like, I'm so serious when I say that. It is really simple to go out and make more money. You're just choosing not to. You're choosing to white knuckle your business and do it all by yourself, which is holding you back when you could simply outsource and go make more money. Outsourcing helps me more than just in my business. It helps me in my life too. It helps me with my relationships, with my family, with my friends, with my husband. So stop white knuckling your business. Lie number 2, saying yes too much. If you've been a longtime listener of this show, you've heard me say, if it's not a hell yes, it's got to be a no. I literally have a piece of paper on my wall right now in front of me that says heck yes. If it's not a hell yes, it's got to be a no. You cannot be a yes person. And let me tell you, no is not a negative thing. Saying no to the things that aren't the right fit opens doors to the things that are. People who are going to serve you well. Clients who truly want you. Opportunities with your name all over them. So stop saying yes. Stop trying to please everyone. Stop saying yes all the time, because busy is not a badge of honor. Being intentional about your commitments leads you to success faster and keeps you more rested. Can I repeat that? Being intentional about your commitments leads you to success faster and keeps you more rested. So let go of FOMO and protect those yeses, please. Lie number 3, failing to create systems and workflows and sticking to those systems and workflows. Let me tell you, I have workflows in place for Sugar Creek, and I also have them in place for our roofing business. And when somebody forces me out of those workflows, I know immediately that that person is not my ideal customer because they want to do it on their terms, not mine. And you have to be strong in your grounding to know your workflows are serving you in the best interest of you, your mental capacity, your mental space, and your business. So when somebody forces you to work outside of your workflow, you got to find the no. You got to find the no. I had a planner in my inbox last week, and she wanted to rent a sofa. I wrote back and said, hey, yes, this sofa is available, but you are not going to meet my minimum rental order with just this one sofa. And she was like, well, what if it's a multi-day rental? No, that doesn't work either. You have to add more to your rental order in order to meet my minimum. Multi-days doesn't do that. And so then I start asking, okay, well, I can just put a meet the minimum line item on there, and that's what I would send over as my proposal. But I start asking because she tells me this is in downtown Dallas. And this particular sofa is quite long. This lady is quite long. She's almost 100 inches long. She's very long. And I say, hey, is this a ground floor delivery? Because it's in downtown Dallas. And she responds back and says, no, it's the 23rd floor. And I said, great. What are the elevator measurements? So she gives them to me in feet, which is fine. I can convert my inches into feet, right? And I say, yeah, unfortunately, this sofa is not going to fit in the elevator. And she's like, oh, wait, no, I gave you the wrong dimensions. Here are the dimensions again. And she gave me the same dimension she gave me before, but this time in inches. And I was like, those are the same dimensions, and she's still not going to fit. I'm telling you, I know she's not going to fit. Why are you arguing with me? But here's where I knew right out of the gate that things weren't going to go the way I wanted them to. I sent her an email in response to her inquiry that said, here is my calendar. Let's book a time to talk about your rentals. And she wrote me back and just said, can you just give me a proposal for this thing? So she didn't want to work within my workflow, which was the red flag. And then the second red flag is when she starts arguing with me about the elevator. So your workflows are in place to protect your time, but also to protect who you want to work with as an ideal customer. Failing to create systems and workflows. Don't believe that lie. I don't want you to reinvent the wheel over and over and over. If you're sending the same email out to every single inquiry, make it a templated email, a canned email response. Yes, it's a lot of work to build out a workflow, but let me tell you, once your workflow is in place, it takes minutes and hours off of the time it would take if you just continue to reinvent the wheel. Work smarter, not harder. Create as much intentional automation in your business as possible so you can hit pause when you need to hit pause and the things keep working behind the scenes. So stop believing the lie that workflows won't work for you, that automation won't work for you, because I promise you it will be the stopgap that helps you determine whether that's an ideal client or not, plus also will save you time. Lie number 4, batch working doesn't work. It does. There are so many research studies that talk about how well batch working works. So let me ask you this. How many tabs do you have open right now on your computer? I know you might be listening in the car, or you might be multitasking and listening, not in front of your computer, but I want you to think about when you last walked away from your computer, how many tabs did you have open? Nobody is good at multitasking, truly. From an efficiency standpoint, nobody is good at multitasking. So I want you to figure out how to be intentional with the things you want to focus on so that you can get yourself into the zone and focus on that thing for X amount of time to knock out X amount of work product. That is why batch working works. So yes, don't believe the lie that it doesn't work, because it absolutely does. The hardest part with batch working is actually doing it. So I need you to block the time off on your calendar, create space in your calendar for a specific focus, and get to work. Make the commitment to yourself and your business, because the payoff is the quality of the work and the time savings. All right, last but not least, lie number 5, placing too much of your worth in your social media numbers, your followers. Listen, I get it. We want to grow all over everywhere. But when there's not a direct ROI down to your pocketbook, it is a waste of time that you invest in your worth and those numbers. It's going to pull focus on things that are going to actually move your bottom line. How many sales are you making? How many leads are you generating? How many people are engaging with your business? That's where your focus should pivot to, not how many followers you have on Instagram. What if you focused on those people, the people that are already seated at your dinner table? What if you served those humans incredibly well with intention and purpose? I want you to focus on those humans, not on the neighbors that might still be out in the neighborhood and haven't found you yet. Focus on the people that are already sitting at your table. Invest your time in places that are growing your business in big ways or potential big ways. Social media cannot be your end game. It should only be a small part of your overall strategy. Followers are only great when you can guide them to a conversion, from a new lead to a sale. Focus on making impact, because impact creates conversions to sales. That's where I want you to focus. So yeah, lie number 5. Don't believe that you have less value or less worth because the amount of followers you have on social media. Don't compare yourself to other influencers who have millions, or who have tens of thousands, or who have hundreds of thousands. Focus on the people already at your table and figure out how to serve them incredibly well, because those people will be your megaphones, and those people will help you convert new clients to customers. Thank you so much for listening to the lies that we tell ourselves, and I hope you can now sit there with me and say, right now, I want you to repeat with me, I'm not in this alone. I'm not in this alone. I'm not in this alone. Because we all get hung up in these lies that we tell ourselves, and I promise you, if you can bust through those lies, work through the fear, you're going to see growth. You're going to see growth. So again, thank you so much for listening. If you love this show, I hope that you would consider taking an extra minute out of your life and leaving a review where you listen to this podcast. I know it sounds silly and you probably think that it doesn't make a difference, but it really does to me. So tell me what this show has taught you. Tell me how I have poured into your life in any way, shape, or form. I promise you it would mean the world to me. So wherever you are listening to this episode, I hope you will take 1 minute of your time to leave me a review, leave me a comment, tell me how this show has helped you. Okay, until next time, I hope you have a great rest of your week. Hey, real quick before I go, I wanted to pop back in and say again, thank you so much for listening to this latest episode of the Purposely Aligned Entrepreneur Podcast. I would so love a favor from you right now. Would you please share this episode with a friend or share it to your social media and tag me at Boss Girl Creative? Oh my gosh, that would mean so much to me if you did that right now. Okay, I'll see you next week with a brand new episode.